to my little homestead, and thank you for all your sweet comments on the videos that I've just uploaded over the last week or so. It's very encouraging. Today I'm going to share a recipe, and probably a lot of people who do preserving, canning, maybe already have a recipe for this, but this is actually the first time for me making a green tomato relish. And it's funny because the lady whose recipe I found, she had written a little comment saying that even the thought of green tomato relish just always sounded off-putting. But she gave it a try and found out she just loved it. So that encouraged me to try it as well. And it also contains a couple of apples, and we certainly have plenty of apples growing on our trees right now. So it's just a small recipe. And I went down the back. We didn't have a very good harvest of tomatoes this year, but I went down the back where I normally grow them, and there was, by the time I brought them in and weighed them, I'll turn you around. Oh no, I can never do that when I want to turn you around. Anyway, I just got some apples that had fallen down, and just some of the tomatoes that have a little bit orange, and they're just quite little, but I never like to waste anything. So I thought I'm just going to have a go and make this recipe, and I thought I'd take you along with me. See you soon. Okay, so I'm heating a little bit of olive oil in the pan, probably only about a tablespoon. And to that, once that starts to heat up a bit, then I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of white mustard seeds. And it says half a teaspoon of curry powder, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and I think it's half a teaspoon of ground allspice. I think I actually made something very similar to this many years ago when my children were small. Right, so I'm just going to add in the mustard seeds. And the half a teaspoon of allspice, which is probably what gives it the dark colour. I always think it's so exciting to be able to use up everything from your garden, from your harvest, not have anything go to waste. And it's just half a teaspoon of curry powder. So I'll leave those out because sometimes I like to tweak it, and I might want to, if the taste isn't quite what I want, I might want to just change it and add a little bit more, which is the exciting thing about when you're doing cooking. You can just do that because everybody's taste buds are a bit different. Some people don't like things to be very spicy, and other people love spicy food. Like I love spicy food. So maybe my pan wasn't quite hot enough. Anyway, I'll wait till that just starts to sizzle a little bit, and then we're going to add in the other ingredients. Okay, so to that pot with the fried spices, I've added 1/4 cup of sultanas, and now I'm going to add half a cup of brown sugar. It's not as much sugar in this recipe as some other recipes. And then it's 1 cup of apple cider vinegar. So I'm hoping I've got enough apple cider vinegar here. I'll just use this little one. If not, if I don't, I'm just going to top it up with white vinegar. And it goes. And then I just need to chop up 1 kilo of green tomatoes, 2 pound, 1 large brown onion. I'm going to use 2 smaller ones, and it says 1 large green apple. I'm going to use 2, and I also need to add a half a teaspoon of salt. Now I've just washed all of my mixture of tomatoes, so I've actually got some ones that are quite hard. They're sort of almost red, but they're still hard, so I'm just going to use those, otherwise I might not have had enough. I've just got my onions here, and I've just peeled my apples, so I'm just going to get all this ready, chop it all up and throw it in the pot with that vinegar and brown sugar and spice mixture. So I've chopped up all of the tomatoes and onions and apples. It's all in this lovely colourful looking big mixture. So now I'm just going to put that on the boil. What does it say? Bring it to a boil, stirring, and then reduce the heat and simmer it gently until it thickens to your satisfaction, usually around 45 minutes. So I'm just going to bring it to the boil and then reduce it to a simmer, and then I'll bring you back once I've got it boiling. Okay, so the first thing I did, my jars were already clean, but I just gave them a wee rinse with hot water, turned them upside down, and then I'll pop them in the oven at 100 degrees Celsius, probably about 20 minutes or so, just before everything's ready. And then I've just poured some boiling water over the rings that I'm going to be using, and over just the jar lids. I'm just using recycled lids that from jam and things, but I always use the ones that have got the little wee bubble thing on the top, so I know when it sucks down that it's sealed properly. Okay, so this is what it's looking like now. It's still got just under half an hour to go. I might need to turn it down just a little bit more. And as I said I would, I've tweaked it and I've added all these things, and most people think my cooking's pretty good, so I thought it needed a little bit more oomph. Now I think it's going to just be wonderful. So I'll bring you back when it's thickened, and probably around about 25 minutes. Okay, I'm back again. Now it has been 45 minutes, and I've thickened it with a little bit of cornflour and white vinegar, and I'm just going to let that cook through for about another 10 minutes, and then I'm going to put it into jars. Okay, so now we're on the home front, the home straight. I'm a little bit tired. It feels like I've been doing this all day. Of course I haven't. So this is all hot, it's just come off the boil. I've just taken these hot jars out of the oven, and now I'm just going to pour it in. I'm not sure how many jars it will make. Maybe, oops, that was too much. So I thought it was only going to make about 3. So this is making more than I thought. I think this will be really lovely on a whole grain sandwich with some tasty cheese. I think that will just be a lovely treat. I don't know if I had that on. Oopsie. I've just cleaned all around the tops of the jars. Probably looks like we're going to have 4.5 jars here, which is pretty good just from things that other years I've just thrown out the green tomatoes. So I'm quite pleased about that. So I'm just going to put the seals on. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I've just got a little bit of clean paper towel and I've just put a little bit of white vinegar on it, and I'm just going to clean around the tops of these jars before I put the seals on. Thank you for sticking with me through this video. I hope you enjoyed it. So I've made 4.5 jars. Just got this little bit left over. Thought this would also be lovely with cold meat and salad and just some lovely fresh bread or something like that for a simple dinner. So I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.